Audio Jungle.
Ainu placed his head back slowly on the pillow left to him, keeping his eyes closed and breathing the strange air of this place. When the illness that had seized him was explained, he had leapt about and yelled, wondering how his own blood could become treasonous to him. He had drawn his knife and was about to see if he could bleed the vileness out, but the Great Ones had seized him and told him to lay down his arms, for they had their own, far more potent weapons. He had accepted and was brought here, to a land of white stones and silver, where beds lay in rows, filled with his people, the Great Ones gliding from man to man, and plying all matter of tools he didn't understand. Blades like the teeth of venomous animals, connected to clear stomachs of colorless fluid, covered in the runes of the Great Ones. Their tongue was one he could speak, and even read in some cases, but the words displayed meant nothing to him. Perhaps it was the titles of their gods, who banished diseases so effortlessly. Ainu mused on the power of these spirits. Perhaps, had his people worshipped these same gods, they may have been as mighty as the Great Ones. Deities of deities, he wondered if there was ever an upper limit. Still, he was comfortable in this strange land. He was allowed visitation by his family, and the food, while something unrecognizable to any dish he had eaten before, was something he could stomach with relatively little difficulty. He spent most of his days in this strange place eating what he could best describe as seeds. Strange, white objects, of regular round shape, that must be taken at strict times in accordance with when he woke, when he ate, and when he slept. Such rituals of medicine were not foreign to him, only the ingredients seemed odd. He had in secret taken 2 of these seeds when told to take one, and delivered it to his son, telling the boy to plant it in the ground and see what would come of it. The more he studied the Great Ones, the more he suspected that they were hiding both everything and nothing from him. When pressed, one would easily divulge his secrets, but only an odd metaphor or story, and the words they used among their own were ones he did not know, ones he was not taught. He settled back into his bed. Perhaps such speech was a test of his people by theirs. An idea he had been considering, almost a blasphemous one, was that perhaps, if he were to pass their tests, he would become a Great One like them, and put on their marble skin. There were 3, not a one of those anything like his body shape. They had no carapace, nor horns. An had 2 limbs beneath, 2 above, and a head atop its body. Its upper limbs ended in hands, and its lower ones ended in feet. Another had no lower limbs of any sort, but 6 in a ring around its upper segment, and no discernible head. Their limbs ended in a variety of hands and feet. The third was a long creature with 1 head, and 3 limbs from that head. It had no legs of any kind, but crawled forwards like a worm. As he thought, 2 of them walked over. The one with 2 feet and the one with 6 limbs had approached him, slates in hand as they looked over their strange ritualistic implements. The daggers that they had pierced his flesh with, the soft bedding they laid him on. The one with 2 limbs presented him with one of the white seeds of earlier, alongside a cup of water. Ainu took the seed and swallowed it down, drinking as the 2 Great Ones looked at him, then each other. The one with 6 limbs turned to the one with 2, and it made a motion with 3 of its legs, a motion that Ainu recognized as exasperation from its kind. If only your people spent half the money and time they spent on bombs on medicine, it said, then you would have cured this race with only a wave of your arm. The 2-legged Great One shrugged. Must you do this in front of the people? It asked, but then seemed bemused. Ainu squinted, knowing that behind the black obsidian face it had, there was another face he could sometimes glimpse. Unfortunately, the light in this place blocked out the features, and he leaned back again. Yes, the 6-legged one said, perhaps then your kind will feel shame. Great Ones, there is no need to quarrel. Ainu spoke, we would be lost without you. The 2-legged one remained silent for a time. Then it took the small, sealed jar of seeds it had from a pouch on its belt, looking at it. It then handed it to Ainu. Do not eat one, it commanded, but read the name, read it aloud. Ainu looked at the characters. Cyclophosphamide, the label said. He tried to speak it. Cyclophosphamide, he said, nervous. Close, the 2-legged one said. The 2 characters here, when together, sound like F, and that one at the end there alters the sound. It is pronounced closer to cyclophosphamide. Ainu felt ashamed of his error, but tried not to show it. Is there a point to this show? The six-legged one asked. You taught him to read, you taught him to write. Are you going to list every medication he takes? All the nutrients, antimicrobials, and chelating agents there are? Ainu. Please give me the cyclophosphamide back, the two-legged one said, holding a hand out to receive the object. Ainu complied immediately, pressing the strange jar back into the Great One's hand. It then placed them back where it had retrieved them. Human, what is the purpose of this? The six-legged one asked. The Great One, human, tapped a foot. Do you know where it came from? Asked human. Ainu picked his head up. They are seeds, are they not? He asked. I had taken one in secret, gave it to my son, told him to plant it. I thought it would sprout. Human made an odd noise, and Ainu recoiled. Was this the wrong choice? It is not a seed, but I can see why you think that. No plant will grow of it, for it was not made by a plant. Must you always prattle? The other Great One asked. Every time we speak to this kind, you always speak of the strangest things. You need not deliver every step needed to arrive at your instructions, human. You only need to command, and they obey. After what you did to the tyrants, who wouldn't obey you? Ainu asked. Human shook its head. It's important they know not just to obey, but why. So many times in our past, being given only a command and not reason for why lead to misery. A unique failing of your kind, said the other Great One. You who never outgrew war, you must explain every detail of something to your kind before you do it. Human shrugged. Why do your kin never let our archaeologists to your homeworld? Perhaps you are hiding something. The accusation stung even to Ainu. Nevertheless, I will speak of war now. But I will speak more of cyclophosphamide. You can lecture this one, Ainu. I have more important matters to attend to, the other Great One said, leaving. Human looked at Ainu, then retrieved the cyclophosphamide again. Do you want to know where this came from? It asked. Ainu couldn't help himself. Human always tested him, and the solution was always to question. Yes. Where did it come from? Many years ago, human always started its stories the same way. My kin, fractious as they were, all lived in the same place, it said. As your tribes go to war, so too did ours. Ainu waited. Human always paused at this point to let the message connect. And in our wars, we created great evil and cast them upon each other. We mutilated the ground, slew each other in heaps, and left them there to rot. One war was so fearsome, it was whispered no more wars would ever follow it. So evil were our weapons that very few who fought would ever lift a blade against, said human. Is that when your kind found peace? Ainu asked. No, said human, there were many wars after it. But of these evil weapons, one was so wicked that all who saw it agreed, things such as it were to be sealed away and never used. It was poison in the air that melted the eyes and throats of those it touched, burning their skin. Those who it touched died screaming, skinless, and drowning in their own liquid flesh. Human continued. In a war of horrors, this was one of the worst. All who partook of it swore off it come peace. Ainu spoke. So, why tell me of this? For come the next war, we had lied to ourselves. In what was once a mighty empire, we had in secret created these weapons, and placed them there. It was an accident that they were unleashed, but a terrible one. Many died, but among there was a man wise in such weapons, and clever in the ways of medicine. He saw what had been done to the people, and observed how it struck their blood, and he spoke to others of his findings. And Ainu asked, what happened? What can heal, can harm, and what can harm, can heal? You just ate a drug descended from that weapon, too horrible even for war. Too horrible for war, human called this thing. Ainu wondered. What matter of soul lay behind that marble skin and obsidian face? The author's name and the link to original text in the description. Consider tapping the thumbs up and pressing the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. And please join our channel. Thanks for watching.